Hello, welcome to another episode of Tom's Tube Chan. I want to talk to you today about Lipo batteries and your RC cars. A lot of people on Facebook groups and forums and stuff like that constantly ask the same question: can I run Lipos with brush motors? The short answer is yes, but you need to be careful. Let's take a look. Okay, before we start talking about Lipo batteries in a brushed car, let's go over the basics of a Lipo battery. This is a 2-celled or 2S battery. Basically means it has two same voltage that you see from a standard battery. However, with Lipos, when you charge them up to about 8.3 volts in total. So they hold a bit more. This means they give a bit more punch and they last a bit longer. You will generally see a good 5 to 10 minutes more on one of these than you would with a standard NIM battery, depending on milliamps and stuff like that. But if you're talking about bang for your buck, Lipos will give you more runtime. Okay? So just bear that in mind. Each cell is 1S. Put them together, 2S. Put another one on top of that, 3S, etc, etc, goes on and on. My outcast will run up to 6S or 22 volts. Okay? Today we're going to talk about brushed motors with Lipos, so we'll stick to 2S. Okay?
Subscribe.
Before we do anything, obviously we need a good charger and we need some decent batteries. Okay? So the Florians are pretty good. They are budget batteries. There's plenty of other batteries as well. They all do the same thing. Some would come better charged than others in the post. Some will maybe need a few cycles to get them going properly. But the Florians, myself, have not had any issues. Then you've got encased ones, or ones that basically have like a plastic case around the outside. They're better because sometimes for bashing and things like that, because obviously with impacts and stuff like that, you're going to take a little bit more impact to get through the case and into the soft battery inside. The reason we have to be careful with Lipos is because any puncture on those batteries can set a fire off. Okay, so one of the things to remember, that they are a bit more volatile than your standard NIM battery. Okay, so let's talk a bit about charging. Before you do anything, you need to learn how to charge your batteries. You need a decent battery charger and a decent battery, of course. And basically, you need a balance lead and a power lead. The balance lead will basically balance out the cells within the battery. Because there's two cells, they need to be decent voltage each. They can't be way off. Okay, and this just provides your power to your battery. So basically what you do is, I'm sorry you can't see the screen on my battery charger. I've tried my hardest to get it to show, but my camera won't show it for some other reason. First of all, plug in your balance lead and your power lead. Now, on the battery, the milliamps are very important when it comes to charging. So first of all, you select the type of battery, Lipo battery. Always balance charge. There is no point in just doing a straight charge. If you don't do a balance charge, basically your cells will go out of alignment and you'll potentially kill your battery. So we go for a Lipo balance. It's set to 4.0A to 4.0 amps. So basically, if it was 5,000 milliamps, you'd set it to 5.0A. If it was 6,000 milliamps, you do it at 6.0A. If it was 3,000 milliamps, you do 3.0A. Okay? Make sure it's set to 2S. Press and hold the start button. It goes through a process and basically says, are you sure you want to charge this? This is a 2S battery, confirm, blah blah blah. So it's asking me to confirm. and all we need to do is press start, and the battery is now charging. I don't know if this is going to show, like I said. I'm going to do my best. Okay, I think you can see something there. So if we look, Lipo 2S, 4.0 amps, and it's charging at 8.8 volts. So basically what that means is the charger is putting lots of voltage into the battery and working out where we're at. This here is your milliamps in total. It's about basically the amount of milliamps that are going to go into the battery. Or amps. I'm talking very in layman's terms. Okay? Okay. Once the battery is charged, the battery charger will beep. This particular battery will take probably about half an hour to charge at this rate. Okay? Okay, so now your battery's charged, you'll go to your car and you put it in the car. We'll talk about putting it in the car in a second. I want to show you about something else. Once you've finished with your battery, you need to put it in storage charge. Okay? If you have a decent charger like this one, you can put it into storage charge. What that means basically is it puts it into a decent state of storage. If you're not going to use your battery for any length of time, we're talking weeks, then you need to put it in storage. Or if you've used it and it's completely depleted, you need to put it in storage. You can leave it fully charged, but it's not recommended for the life of the battery. So, to put it in storage charge, I'll bring it up to the screen. Okay. So to put it in the storage charge, you press stop, program select Lipo battery, Lipo storage. It will always storage charge at about 1 amp, which means it takes a little while. Okay, we need to confirm the type of battery, 2S, press and hold the start button, and that will now go into a storage charge. Again, it needs to, it'll either remove charge from the battery or it will add charge to the battery to get it to that storage point. So once you've charged your battery and you want to go and play with your cars, you need to put it into your car. So before you do that, if we're not going down the new ESC route, then we need to get one of these, a Lipo alarm. Now, what a Lipo alarm does is it warns you when the battery gets to a certain point in voltage with a very loud beep. So as you can see, at the moment it's showing me that all the cells are 7.92. Okay, so on a warning, so we want to set the warning when if you want a full run, you want to set a warning when all batteries get to 3.5 volts, or 3.5 volts, okay? So it's both cells run 3.5 volts each. Okay, so one of the things you can also do is, if you don't want to get your batteries back into storage charge, sorry, it's not focusing very well, is you can set the warning to 3.8. If you set it to 3.8, the alarm will go off when the battery gets down to 3.8 volts on each cell. And then you won't have to put it into storage charge. Storage charge is about 3.8 each cell. Let's talk about putting it in a normal brushed car. Here we have a trusty Madball. Okay. On this Madball we have a Tamiya ESC, which needs sticking back in. It's got a normal Tamiya connection and a brushed motor. So if we want to run our LiPo in it, we need a Tamiya to Dean's connector at least, which fits into there like so. And we also need our alarm. Now, Tamiyas, especially older Tamiyas, are not really designed to hold LiPo batteries. LiPo batteries have much thicker cables and generally don't always fit. So what we have to do is make them fit. So if we put our battery in like so, what I do, just put a little cable tie around the side of the battery like that, tie it up. I'm not going to do it just for this sake, just not going to do it this time around. Plug in our battery, like so. There we go. Turn on the remote. And now we turn on our car. Okay. The car is now turned on with a Lipo 2S battery. You don't need to worry about the slightly higher voltage on these batteries because these are designed, these ESCs, to take up to about 8.4 volts. Okay, and they have a BEC in them, or a BEC, which means that your servo only gets a maximum of 6 volts at a time. Okay, so that is how we set up a car to run LiPos on a brushless motor. So basically, you don't really need to do anything apart from buy batteries and the charger, and also one of these bad guys. Actually, I thought it was better mention this as well. We put our Lipo alarm on. You can get a little extension if you need to, but basically, if you sit that on your car somewhere as well, when the charge goes down enough, basically this will beep very loudly. You don't want to set your charge too low, because if you let it go too low, your batteries won't recharge. Okay, so the maximum you can let is about 3.2 volts. It doesn't seem like a lot from full charge, but the batteries do seem to last longer. Okay, so that's a basic setup for a brushed car. Without changing anything on the car, you just got a standard brushed ESC, brushed motor. The only thing you need to do is give yourself a little converter. If you want to, you could solder on some new connections if you like, and make sure you get a battery alarm like so. So we'll put this car away and we'll move on to a car which has an ESC which is designed to take proper LiPos. Here we have my trusty lunchbox. Move that out of the way. I'll take the shell off. This here is a Hobby Wing quick run 1060 ESC. They're basically designed to run a brushed motor on LiPo. You can even run it on a NIM if you like to, but what they do is they have some little jumpers which you move across to LiPo, and when your battery gets to around 3.4, 3.5 volts, it shuts the car down. All you do to connect one of these is take out your existing ESC, which are normally glued in, and you plug that new ESC into your receiver. Very straightforward. Most Hobby Wings will come with a Tamiya connection because the general user is going to be using a NIM anyway. So once again, we take our battery with our converter on it, Put the battery in like so. And connect up. Once again, our receiver is on, transmitter's on. There we go. Gives a bit more oomph to an already crazy chassis. Okay, I just wanted to give you a bit of a variety, show you a bit of what the variety of batteries are like. So here we have a 6S battery. This is a 6-cell battery. This is primarily for my Outcast. They are 22.2 volts. This particular one is 50C. Now the C rating you don't really need to worry unless you've got a brushless motor, okay? But you can see it's 5,000 milliamps as well. Alright, so these also have XT90 connections. These are slightly better than the Dean's connector because they don't tend to pull apart as easily and spark less. As you can see with these ones, slightly smaller connector, but they're perfectly fine for the application of doing brushed motors with Lipo. Okay, the next thing I want to talk to you about is storage of your batteries. Now these batteries don't really matter, to be honest with you, what you do with them. They still need to be careful with them. They can still catch fire like any battery can, or anything to do with electrics, but a bit more robust. Lipo batteries are soft by nature, okay? You cannot pierce them. If you do, they tend to explode. This battery has a hard case, so it's generally a bit harder to pierce. It's up to you what you go with. I run a combination of soft batteries, or soft cover batteries and hard case batteries like so. Okay, so this is another 6S battery, also for my Outcast, with an XT90 connection on it. And then over here we have a 4S battery with a hard case. And I don't really run the 4S anymore, that was for my TNX conversion, but we don't really use that. These batteries are quite good for the Tamiya's, as are these. Okay, not this particular one, this is a 3S one, so we don't want to run that on a Tamiya standard. Okay, so they tend to fit Tamiya's quite well with a bit of a squeeze. Okay, so let's talk about storage. Now, one of the things when we're charging the batteries as well, you need to keep an eye on them. Don't charge them in your kitchen though. Okay, if you're going to charge them in your house, although you're there, it's very hard to get to them if they do go up in flames, and you can cause a lot of damage before you've done anything. When I charge my batteries, I charge them in here in my garage, and I keep an eye on them. I constantly check. Some people even put a camera in their garage so they can keep an eye on things. In the garage, when I charge them, I keep them away from anything valuable. Alright? So you just got to bear that in mind. All the scare stories though, Lipo batteries are generally pretty safe. As long as you handle them carefully, as long as you don't overcharge them, as long as you've got a decent charger, like the one here, then basically you're going to have safe batteries. Now once you've charged them, you do need to store them sensibly. So over here we have a storage bag. Okay, it's the first port of call when you're storing your batteries. Load them in. Okay, now some people will also keep them separate in different bags and stuff like that. I personally don't. Put all your batteries in like so. Okay, and then we zip it up. Now these are fireproof bags basically. What they do is they won't stop the fire, they just give you a bit of time before the fire takes. What I personally do, I'll show you now. Okay, so here's my batteries. I put them in a ceramic pot, upside down, like so, on a concrete floor. If they catch fire, the only thing that's going to be catching is maybe a bit of smoke damage and other stuff. I'm quite safe in the knowledge that they're in my garage and not in my house. Okay? Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video today. I just want to recap on what we talked about today. So basically, if you have a brushed motor, you can run lipos. You either need to get a decent lipos alarm or get a decent ESC. It basically means that you're going to get a decent running RC car with a bit of punch, a bit extra fun. There are some things to remember. Lipo batteries can catch fire if they're not looked after or charged properly. Get yourself a decent charger, get yourself somewhere to charge them. Don't charge them in your house. Definitely don't charge them unattended. And when I say unattended, I mean somewhere where you can stick your head in and have a look and keep an eye on things. You're not going to sit there and watch it for an hour. You just need to make sure that if it's going to catch fire, you can throw it somewhere where it's not going to catch fire to other things. Another thing, if you want to dispose of your batteries, cut the leads off, not together, because otherwise you'll shock yourself. Just one at a time, and chuck them in a salt water bath or a bucket. Okay? And then you can chuck them in the trash as normal. Just a little caveat from myself. Please, please be careful. Make sure you look after these batteries. I am not the person that's responsible for a fire in your house if you've not looked after these batteries properly. It's down to you and no one else. Please make sure you read all the instructions and you look after them properly. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you had a really good time watching this video and I taught you something today. This is just an overview of LiPo batteries from a layman's terms point of view. Once you've got the basics, the world's your oyster. Okay? So please, carry on watching, give us a like, give us a subscribe. I'll see you later.